Welcome to this video on assessing teachers' knowledge and the availability of technology for teaching geography in senior high schools in Cape Coast. The video will cover the introduction and background, problem statement and rationale, objectives and research questions, theoretical and conceptual framework, literature review, methodology, results and discussion, conclusions and recommendations, followed by a Q&A. We begin with the introduction and background, focusing on why technology matters in geography education and the contrasting reality in Ghana's classrooms. Globally, technology in geography includes GIS and spatial analysis, remote sensing, environmental simulation, and digital fieldwork, which enhance student learning and data-driven inquiry. Ghana's policy landscape, from the 2003 ICT4AD policy to the 2019 new curriculum framework, shows a strong commitment to technology integration. However, the classroom reality in senior high schools remains a different story. The problem is characterized by three converging failures in Cape Coast SHSs: a knowledge gap in subject-specific technological knowledge, an infrastructure paradox where equipment exists but is non-functional, and an evidence vacuum, lacking local data on technology knowledge and availability. The general objective of this research is to assess geography teachers' knowledge of technology and the availability of ICT tools. Specific objectives include examining technological knowledge, assessing ICT tool operational status, evaluating the relationship between knowledge and use, and identifying barriers to integration. The research questions address the level of technological knowledge within the TPACK framework, the availability and operational status of ICT tools, the frequency and ways technology is used, and the barriers encountered by geography teachers. Moving to the theoretical and conceptual framework, we use TPACK, TAM, and the diffusion of innovation as analytical lenses for this study. The TPACK framework emphasizes knowledge at the intersection of content, pedagogy, and technology. This is crucial as generic ICT training is not sufficient. Geography teachers require subject-specific technological competence, like integrating spatial tools with pedagogical judgment. Our conceptual framework models inputs, such as teacher TPACK and technology availability, which lead to technology use as a mediator, ultimately affecting geography teaching effectiveness. Barriers moderate this relationship at every stage. Next, we review the existing literature to understand what the empirical record tells us and where it falls short. Literature reveals that technological knowledge is often weak, even where content knowledge is strong. Recent ICT training seems to correlate with higher technological knowledge scores. Notably, equipment availability does not equal functional capacity, and specialized training, like GIS training, is the strongest predictor of subject-specific tool use. This study addresses three key research gaps: the lack of geography-specific data, the absence of evidence from secondary city contexts like Cape Coast, and the need to examine the link between availability, use, and integration of technology together. The methodology employed for this research is an explanatory sequential mixed methods design. Our research design uses a two-phase approach. Phase 1 used a quantitative structured questionnaire with 41 teachers. Their results from this phase were used to inform the thematic topics and selection of 12 participants for the Phase 2 qualitative semi-structured interviews. The data collection instruments included a structured questionnaire covering demographics, technical knowledge via the adapted TPACK scale, ICT availability, and technology use. We also conducted semi-structured interviews on barriers and perceptions. We now move to the results and discussion section. This segment reveals what the data shows about teacher knowledge, tool availability, and the barriers that exist between them. The respondent profile shows a high response rate of 85.4%, with a majority being male and 2/3 holding a bachelor's degree. A key finding is that 34.1% of teachers have never received formal ICT training, which contextualizes our TPACK results. The TPACK profile shows a striking asymmetry. Content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge scored highly at 4.21 and 3.98, respectively. However, integrated TPACK, the ability to integrate all three knowledge areas, is critically low at 2.18, indicating a lack of intersectional knowledge. Regarding ICT availability, geography-specific tools like GIS are near absent, with 7 to 15% availability. Generic tools dominate. Furthermore, about 40% of computers are non-functional, and internet is often unreliable, highlighting the infrastructure paradox. Quantitative results show a significant relationship between TPACK and technology use, with a correlation of 0.61. Importantly, the TPACK score proved to be a stronger predictor of technology use than the availability of tools, even after controlling for other factors. Qualitative analysis identified 5 dominant barriers to technology integration. These include infrastructure maintenance failure, absence of subject-specific training, structural time pressure, low institutional prioritization, and low teacher confidence. This brings us to our conclusions and evidence-based recommendations for policy, training, and institutional practice. Our conclusions emphasize that integration failure is systemic, TPACK asymmetry is measurable, and knowledge is the strongest predictor of use. Recommendations focus on embedding geography-specific TPACK modules, replacing generic training, funding maintenance, and developing school-level ICT policies.